What if just one small, quiet act of kindness could completely change your life? Would you stop to help a child in need of shelter, even when the entire world around you rushes by, cold and indifferent, without a second glance? Pause for a moment and imagine this scene. It's a stormy evening. Cold raindrops streak down the foggy window panes of a nearly empty little diner. Outside, figures blur beneath the heavy rain. And among those blurred shapes, there's a small figure, a child huddled in an old wheelchair, trembling beneath a worn, tattered blanket. If it were you, knowing nothing about the child's story, unaware of who might be watching from afar, would you step forward and reach out a helping hand? Tonight, we're about to witness a moment that not only changes the fate of an ordinary woman, but also heals the aching heart of a father weighed down by sorrow. This is not just a story about kindness. This is a story about destiny, about how compassion can weave strangers together in the most miraculous ways. As you listen to this story, let this question echo in your mind. If it were you in that moment, what would you do? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your voice might just inspire someone to see life through a different lens. Now, let's step into downtown Chicago on a night when the rain seems to whisper secrets of hope, and destiny quietly awaits within the warm, cozy space of Maple Street Diner. Don't look away, because what's about to unfold will warm your heart and rekindle your belief in the miracles of life. In the gray drizzle blanketing the city of Chicago, the dim lights of Maple Street Diner cast a faint, warm glow, like a tiny flame desperately fighting against the cold storm. Inside the diner, steam from the kitchen fogged up the windows, painting a misty picture that was both beautiful and achingly melancholic. Olivia, the young waitress, with neatly tied brown hair, hurriedly wiped the lingering raindrops off the sleeves of her uniform. Her eyes, slightly shadowed by fatigue from countless late-night shifts, still carried an unusual gentleness. No one in the diner knew that behind her kind smile weighed heavy burdens, unpaid bills, a frail mother lying in a hospital bed, and a dream of a better life that seemed to drift farther out of reach with each passing day. The old clock on the wall ticked slowly, blending with the soft clinking of cutlery to form a quiet, almost solemn soundtrack for the story about to unfold. In a dim corner of the diner, a mysterious man sat in silence, his face hidden beneath a felt hat and the muted glow of an overhead lamp. He was Daniel Carter, a wealthy billionaire few would recognize in such a modest place. But tonight, he wasn't here to enjoy a meal. His sharp eyes followed Olivia's every move, not with judgment, but with a profound curiosity, laced with something deeply human, an aching sense of restlessness. In front of Olivia, a little girl sat in an old wheelchair, shivering from the cold, her eyes wide and filled with bewilderment, as if searching for a miracle amid the merciless rain. Her tiny fingers clutched the worn-out blanket tightly, trembling not only from the bone-chilling cold, but also from the deep loneliness carved into her heart. And then Olivia saw her. Her eyes softened, as though something had just plucked the deepest string of empathy within her soul. Without a moment's hesitation, she stepped toward the child, carrying not just a dry towel, but an open, warm heart, ready to share its kindness. Inside the diner, time seemed to stand still. Even as an audience, you can feel it. Something extraordinary is about to happen. Stay with this story, because what happens next will keep you riveted, unable to look away. The rain outside continued to pour down in torrents, each heavy drop drumming urgently on the diner's roof, as if urging something inevitable to happen. Olivia didn't hesitate. She hurried past the empty tables, pushed open the heavy wooden door, and stepped into the freezing downpour. The rain splashed against her face, icy cold and biting, but in her heart, a warm flame burned brightly. She knelt before the little girl, her trembling hands gently draping a dry towel over the child's small shoulders. "Sweetheart, don't be afraid. I'm here now," Olivia whispered, her voice as soft and comforting as a warm blanket wrapped around a frozen heart. The little girl looked up, her pale blue eyes weighed down by sorrow. At that moment, their gazes met, and time seemed to freeze. The cold rain, the hurried world outside, everything faded away. There was only this fleeting, fragile connection between two lonely souls finding each other in the storm. Olivia gently wheeled the child inside the diner, where warmth filled every corner of the small space. She carefully dried the girl's drenched hair, then placed a steaming bowl of soup and a golden, crispy slice of toast before her. As the warmth from the food slowly spread, the child's face softened. Her lips parted slightly, as if to say thank you, though no words yet came. From a shadowed corner, the mysterious father, Daniel Carter, watched Olivia's every move. But now his gaze had changed. No longer merely curious, his eyes were filled with emotion, laced with a deep, unhealed pain. He clenched his hands tightly, as if to hold back the powerful tide of feelings rising within his chest. His eyes never left the sight of Olivia as she bent tenderly over his daughter, her hands gentle, her eyes filled with pure, unconditional love. Her every action spoke not of pity but of profound empathy, as if she had known this pain herself, as if she understood every hidden wound the little girl carried inside. At this moment, the audience will feel it deeply. Olivia wasn't just helping a lonely child. She was rekindling the hardened heart of a father standing on the edge of despair. And then, within the warmth of that space, an indescribable question began to drift through the air. Who is Olivia really? And why does she care so deeply for this little girl? Don't take your eyes off this story, because the most deeply hidden secrets are about to be revealed in the next chapter. The air inside the diner seemed to hold its breath, as if everything had fallen silent in anticipation of something about to unfold. The last drops of rain trickled down the window pane, reflecting the warm glow that filled the room. And then Daniel Carter rose to his feet. He stepped out from the shadows, each step heavy with memories and emotions that had been buried for far too long. Olivia's eyes met his. There was a flicker of surprise, but she quickly composed herself. The little girl in the wheelchair immediately broke into a smile upon seeing her father, a spark of light igniting in her clear, innocent eyes. "Thank you," Daniel spoke, his voice deep and warm, but tinged with emotion. His gaze rested on Olivia, filled with both reverence and quiet longing. "You didn't just give her warm food. You gave her something I haven't been able to give her for so long. True warmth." The atmosphere grew still for a moment. Daniel slowly removed his felt hat, revealing the familiar face of one of the city's most powerful billionaires. His eyes shimmered with sincerity and a profound sadness. Olivia froze, not because of his reputation, but because the sight of him pulled at old memories buried deep within her heart. She saw once again a rainy afternoon from years ago when her little brother sat in a wheelchair, waiting for a miracle that never came. Overwhelmed with emotion, she softly whispered, "I only did what I once wished someone had done for my brother." Daniel's eyes widened. He realized something far deeper than he had first understood. "You too?" he asked, his voice filled with quiet realization. Olivia nodded slowly, her voice trembling with emotion. My brother was paralyzed from a young age. We lived through freezing winters, gnawing hunger, but the hardest part wasn't the cold or the poverty. It was the indifference of the people around us. Daniel swallowed hard, her words piercing his heart like needles. He suddenly recalled the countless days he had buried himself in work, believing that money and advanced medical equipment were enough to save his daughter, only to now understand what he had overlooked, the connection from the heart. And I swore to myself, Olivia continued, her voice growing steadier, that if I ever saw someone like my brother in need, I would never turn away. The room seemed to fall silent once more. Daniel clenched his fists, deeply moved. But just then, another twist caught the audience off guard. Daniel revealed that his late wife, before she passed away, had been a passionate advocate for children with disabilities. And now, in Olivia, he saw that same pure compassion shining brightly. She used to tell me, Daniel said, his voice thick with emotion, that empathy is the greatest gift a person can give to another. And today, you've done something I had forgotten for far too long. It wasn't just a coincidence. It felt like a miraculous arrangement of fate. At this moment, the audience will feel it deeply. The once scattered pieces of these two strangers' lives are now falling perfectly into place, as if they had always belonged together. But wait, this story isn't over yet. An even greater surprise is still waiting ahead. Stay with us, because the next part will make your heart burst with emotion. The atmosphere inside Maple Street Diner seemed to glow with something hard to name. A quiet, yet radiant awakening, a spark of hope. Olivia still stood there, her hands gently clutching the dish towel, her eyes lingering with a hint of bewilderment, but deep within them, a warmth she could not conceal. Daniel stepped closer, and his gaze was no longer that of a stranger, but one filled with deep gratitude and admiration. His voice, steady and resolute, resonated. Olivia, you didn't just save my daughter from the cold of this night. You've rekindled a flame inside me that I thought had long since burned out. At that moment, he drew an envelope from his coat and placed it on the table. But what made it truly special wasn't the number written on the check inside. It was the handwritten letter accompanying it. I don't just want you to work for me. I want you to walk alongside me to build something greater, a haven for children like my daughter, like your brother. Olivia was stunned. Her heart raced, not because of the grandeur of the offer, but because of the opportunity to transform her past pain into hope for others. Her voice trembled with emotion. You really trust me? Daniel smiled, a rare and genuine smile. You've done what the world has forgotten. You saw a child, not with pity, but with a heart full of true compassion. But it didn't stop there. Daniel made an even bolder decision. He formally invited Olivia to live with his family, not as an employee, but as a true member of their home. My daughter needs someone not just to care for her, but to love her as family, Daniel said, his voice thick with emotion. And I realize now that person is you. Tears welled in Olivia's eyes. She knelt beside the little girl and wrapped her in a warm embrace. The child's radiant smile lit up her face, her eyes sparkling with pure joy, as if all the shadows in her heart had been chased away by Olivia's presence. A new picture of family began to take shape. Daniel, Olivia, and the little girl stepping out of the warm diner together, hand in hand, as the rain began to subside. The pale morning sunlight cast its gentle rays over the damp streets, a quiet testament to the promising new beginning ahead. But the story didn't end there. The very next day, Daniel announced a new project, the founding of the Hope Foundation, with Olivia appointed as executive director, entrusted with the mission of helping children with disabilities and families searching for light in the darkness. "We're not just changing our own lives," Daniel declared at the opening ceremony. "We're igniting hope in the hearts of thousands more out there." At this moment, the audience will undoubtedly be overwhelmed with emotion. From a humble waitress, Olivia had become a beacon of warmth, not only for one family, but for an entire community yearning for healing. And just like that, a true miracle had unfolded. But don't look away, because the deepest lesson of this story still awaits in the next chapter. In this story, we don't just witness a father changing the life of a humble waitress. We witness the miraculous rebirth of three wounded souls. Olivia never imagined that, through one simple act of kindness from the heart, she would open the door to destiny and step into a new chapter she had never even dared to dream of. Her compassion, needing no spotlight, no recognition, became the torch that illuminated not only her own path, but the path for others as well. Daniel, a billionaire long accustomed to the cold precision of numbers and emotionless contracts, came to realize a simple yet profound truth. Money can buy many things, but it can never purchase genuine human connection. It was Olivia, with her sincerity and natural warmth, who reminded him of life's most precious gift, unconditional love. And the little girl in the worn-out wheelchair, she had found her faith in the world once again. Her pure, radiant smile, the light in her eyes, was not just a personal revival, it stood as proof of the incredible power of genuine care. The deepest lessons we take from this story are these. Kindness is never small. Even the smallest action, when done with a full heart, can change an entire life. The true connection has the power to heal the deepest wounds. When we open our hearts, even cracks we thought would never mend begin to heal. Family is not only defined by blood, but by those willing to walk beside us through our darkest days. Opportunities often arise from the simplest of moments, and those brave enough to seize them can change not only their own fate, but also the fate of those around them. Let this story be a daily reminder. Miracles do exist in this life. We only need to open our hearts and see them, whether on a gray, rainy day or in a moment that might otherwise seem insignificant. And my friend, don't forget to ask yourself, if I were in that moment, what would I do? Because the choice you make today might just become the miracle in someone else's life tomorrow. But don't leave just yet. The final chapter of this story holds a message meant just for you, powerful, profound, and sure to touch your heart. Let's step into the conclusion together. You know, the story of Olivia and Daniel isn't just a miracle in their world. It's a mirror reflecting real life, a reality that any of us might encounter every single day. Imagine this. You're walking down the street on a rainy day and see an elderly man struggling with a heavy cart at the foot of a steep slope. People all around rush past him, not one person stopping. For a moment, you hesitate, thinking, should I help? But then you step forward, gently push his cart up the slope. The old man turns to you, his eyes brimming with tears. Thank you, dear. Without you, I don't know how I would have made it. That small action, seemingly insignificant, carries weight you cannot imagine. That elderly man lives alone, and it was the first warmth he had felt from a stranger in days. You didn't just help him up a hill, you gave him hope. And the lessons here are clear. Lesson 1. Kindness is a universal language. Everyone understands it, and everyone needs it. Lesson 2. You don't have to be a billionaire to change someone's life. Sometimes, all it takes is a moment of care. Lesson 3. The most beautiful thing is when we turn our own pain into the strength to help others. Lesson 4. Family is not just blood. Family is where hearts are healed. The story of Olivia and Daniel is living proof of these truths. And just like that, in our daily lives, whether you're young or have walked many seasons of life, each of us has the chance to become a small light, guiding someone through the darkness of their journey. Ask yourself every day, what act of kindness have I done today? You'll be amazed at the miracles that simple question can bring into your life. And my friend, if this story has touched your heart, don't keep those feelings to yourself. Share this video to spread the message of love and kindness to even more people. Don't forget to hit like to support these heartfelt storytellers. Leave a comment to let us know how this story made you feel. And most importantly, subscribe to the Toch Story channel so you never miss another moving story. Toch Story, where stories touch your heart and heal your soul. See you in the next video, where we continue to spread kindness and hope to every corner of life.